Before we get to the content, Happy New Year. I know it's a little late now though, but everyone who clicked on this video, I wish you all the best in 2022. As Major League Baseball is in a lockout and there's no major baseball news to talk about right now, here's where we can still talk about baseball and also basketball. You'll find out why basketball too as we move forward with this video. As you see in the title, if Major League Baseball should change the playoff format, why is this being brought up? Because the Los Angeles Dodgers and San Francisco Giants, who are not only historic rivals, but last year, they had the two best records in all of Major League Baseball, only one game apart, but would end up meeting in the NLDS instead of the CS. Why? Because they play in the same division, and regardless of record, the best non-division winner is the wildcard team, and if they make it out of the wildcard game, they're the lowest seed in the playoffs. Now, why I bring basketball into this? The NBA used to have a similar playoff format, but with 8 teams instead of 4, of course. When the NBA got its 30th team with the Charlotte Bobcats, who we know as the Hornets now, the NBA switched to 3 teams per division, and it was the 3 division winners that were guaranteed a top 3 seed. In 2006, the Spurs had the top seed with 63 wins, and the Mavericks were the 4th seed with 60 wins, even while the Phoenix Suns won 54 games, and the Denver Nuggets won 44 games, and they were the 2nd and 3rd seed. The Denver Nuggets really should have been the 7th or 8th seed that year. I'm 100% certain that there are no mistakes in the screenshot you're looking at. That's actually what the standings looked like. The 6th seeded Clippers beat the 3rd seeded Nuggets in 5 games, and the Clippers that year had a better regular season record, so clearly they were the better team that year. Not only that, the 4th seeded Mavericks absolutely demolished the Memphis Grizzlies. This led to an epic 7-game series in the second round between the Spurs and Mavericks, which is often forgotten about now. Before we go any further, if you could please consider taking a moment to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, that'd be much appreciated. If you want to consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any more of my future content if you're new, that'd be much appreciated. Links to my social media are in the description. I'll follow you back. Let's continue. Other than game 2, there wasn't a single game where one team won by double digits. This was a battle between the number 1 offense Mavericks and the number 1 defense Spurs. Usually defense wins championships, more often than not. It's a very true statement, but this time the Mavericks would go on to win that series in 7 games and make it to the finals, where they would lose to Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat in 6 games. The Mavericks won that series despite Tim Duncan averaging 32.3 points, 11.7 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks per game in those 7 games. That Spurs-Mavericks series really should have been the conference finals though. And this changed the NBA playoff format to division winners now only being guaranteed a top 4 seed. So the following season, the Utah Jazz won their division but were rightfully the 4th seed. They made it to the conference finals anyways though, as that was the year the We Believe Warriors upset the 67-win top-seeded Dallas Mavericks in the first round. The Spurs likely would have demolished the Warriors. Well, I think most people thought the Mavericks would too, but the Warriors had other plans. Since the Spurs did win the championship, I'll just go with the fact that, yeah, they would have. So in the East, the Cavaliers were rightfully the 2nd seed instead of the 4th, as they had the 2nd best record in the East, while the Pistons won their division. The Cavs and Pistons would have been the 2nd round matchup though if the playoff format did stay the same. In 2015, when the Blazers got the 4th seed in the West despite the Grizzlies and Spurs both winning 55 games while the Grizzlies won 51, and the Spurs lost an epic 7-game series to the Clippers on a Chris Paul game winner in Game 7, the NBA removed the rule entirely, and now division winners aren't even guaranteed to make the playoffs. Although they still have every year, but just if a division is so bad that no team is 500 or better, or if the top team is only barely above 500, even the division winner can miss the playoffs. I could go more in detail about these NBA playoff series, but not exactly the point I want to make. The point I want to make is that this changed how the NBA playoffs are formatted, and after last year's NLDS between the Dodgers and Giants, to answer the question in the title, should Major League Baseball change its playoff format? The answer is yes. I believe Major League Baseball should follow what the NBA did after the Mavericks-Spurs series in 2006, and also actually in 2015 after the Clippers-Spurs 7-game series. For the teams with the 2 best records in Major League Baseball to face each other in the division series, I don't believe that's how things should work. Now granted, if the seedings did change and the Atlanta Braves were the lowest seed in the playoffs following the wild card game, if they do beat the Cardinals, which I'm just going to assume that they would since they won the World Series, they easily could have beaten the Giants in the NLDS as well and still won the World Series. We don't know for sure, but we can keep in mind that the Atlanta Braves did have a red hot second half. Many people, including myself, slept on them, and they were a team that got hot at the right time and kept that momentum going into the playoffs. Just my thing really is that the Dodgers and Giants, if anything at all, should have been playing in the NLCS instead of the DS, unless the Braves were to upset the Giants in the NLDS. We just want the 2 best teams to face each other later on in the playoffs if they're going to face each other at all. I am still okay with the wild card game being a thing though. It's exciting to see a game with high stakes where it's win or go home. So yes, it is possible that the Braves would have lost to the Cardinals if the Braves were to play in the wild card game, since they only won their division because they played in the weakest division in baseball. That is hypothetical though, so we'll never actually know. It is rare that a wildcard team wins the World Series, but it's happened before, most recently in 2014. So to me, if you win over 100 games and only one team won more than you, in your division or not, I don't believe you should have to play in the wildcard game. Or if you really have to play in the wildcard game, period, I believe you should be given the 2nd seed when you do win the wildcard game. So in this case, the Dodgers would have played the Milwaukee Brewers in the NLDS instead of the Giants. I do still think divisions should exist though for scheduling purposes, so teams don't have to travel more than they already do. If we eliminate divisions and teams fly from coast to coast every week, that's going to make a 162 game season more grueling than it already is. If you ever traveled before, you should know that it's tiring and it can also mess up people's sleep schedules. Of course, I'm not saying let's not travel at all anymore. That would be a little ridiculous, but just don't make teams travel more than they already do is all I'm trying to say. In terms of where teams rank in the playoffs though, after last year's NLDS, I don't think that divisions should matter in that case. But if we remove them completely, not only will schedules be more grueling, also, rivalries like the Yankees and Red Sox or Giants and Dodgers would have a lot less meaning to them. I wouldn't mind if winning the division doesn't guarantee you a playoff spot though, if you have a division as bad as the 2005 NL West. Yeah, the Phillies were much more worthy of making the playoffs than the Padres were. This was before they had a wild card game, so only the Astros got in as the wild card, and this was when they were in the National League for those younger fans who may not remember. So my point of this video is I'd just rather see the 2 best teams in the entire league go head to head in the championship series or World Series unless one of them gets eliminated in the division series. Much like the Mavericks Spurs series I had talked about, this series between the Dodgers and Giants also went the distance, but 5 games, not 7, since the division series is the best 3 out of 5, and it came down to a go-ahead RBI single by Cody Bellinger. This is just my opinion though, so what do you guys think? I'd love to know what you think, but if I get some clueless Yankees fan or salty Yankees fan comment, which I've gotten before, LOL, that's funny because you're not a good troll. If I really do get that here, funny thing is I didn't even mention the Yankees once up until now. And in 2018, when they were the first wildcard team to win 100 games since the 2001 Oakland A's, no, I don't believe the Yankees deserved to make it deeper into the playoffs that year, regardless of if the Red Sox cheated or not. The Red Sox simply were a better team, and Alex Cora is a much better manager than Aaron the Puppet Buffoon. The Yankees were good enough to not play in the wild card game if we were to go by this playoff format that I think should happen, as it really should have been between the Cleveland Indians back then, now the Guardians, and Oakland A's. But hey, the Yankees won that wild card game anyway, so there's nothing for me to complain about there anyways. So that's all I got for this video. If you're still here, if you could please consider dropping a like for the YouTube algorithm, that'd be much appreciated. If you can please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're new, that'd be much appreciated, as well as I'm closing in on 1,000 subs. I'd like to get there by the end of the month. Also, links to my social media are in the description. I'll follow you back. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.